From prisoners to pastors, a new program for inmates in Jefferson City is underway. Good day, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Newsbeat. I'm Emma Anderson. Freedom on the Inside is a new program for Hannibal LaGrange University. It's a Christian Studies bachelor's degree that's offered in partnership with the Missouri Department of Corrections. 20 students from the Jefferson City Correctional Center in Jefferson City are in this program. They're taking classes and working hard academically with the goal of changing the culture inside the prison walls. Here's more on that story. There are some places that seem hopeless.
When I first came to prison, I had life without parole, and it was a pretty hopeless, feeling.
Life before prison was real crazy. I came to prison when I was pretty young, and I've been here for 23 years.
And then the next thing you know, I got myself locked up, and I got to some really dark places in prison.
But in the midst of darkness, inmates have found light.
It's all of a sudden had this moment, and on my knees in a prison cell in the middle of the night, tears pouring down my face. I'm like, fingers about to break. I'm praying so hard. But I just had like this moment of peace kind of come over me.
When you accepted me, Jesus, as your Lord and Savior, I purchased you. The rest of my days are really your days.
Now, prisoners across Missouri are being given the chance to minister behind bars.
Because I said I'll do anything, whatever. I'll spend the rest of my life doing what you want me to do. And it was like he said, go and preach.
All while getting a college degree through a program called Freedom on the Inside. This program has been made possible through the partnership between HOGU and the Missouri Department of Corrections.
The opportunity of this school came. And that's where I was just like, God, I've been praying for this.
HLGU has allowed us to come together to search out commonalities.
Each year, 20 students are selected for the program to earn a Bachelor's of Science degree in Biblical Studies.
It's shocking to me how much I've learned in the small amount of time. This is my freshman year. You start realizing that there's just so much more to this Bible. And I'm gonna be honest with you, some of it just looked like kind of fairy tale stories to me. Now it's just like, this is real.
During the pandemic, inmates started their own church. Prisoners now lead powerful church services and even baptisms.
I mean, come on, we're baptizing people outside, literally like dumping water all over. It's people getting soaked in their prison clothes. This is it. This is sanctified. This is what it looks like, guys. It doesn't click until that moment you have to say, yep, these people got baptized on a prison yard.
These guys are doing evangelism on the yards. They're doing evangelism in the lunchrooms, evangelism on the walkways.
And that's only the beginning. More inmates across Missouri are expected to join Freedom on the Inside in the future, creating ripples of change that will be felt in years to come.
It's powerful. I'm seeing new conversions, people giving up witchcraft, people giving up suicide.
It's really rare that people are able to come together and learn together and grow together.
God is at work here at JCCC. He is working with and through the ministry of Hannibal LaGrange University.
In order to keep this program alive, HOGU is seeking continued support for Freedom on the Inside.
If they knew what it really meant to us guys, they know that we can never articulate how much it means to us.
Tuition and books are free for students in the program. The program is funded through donations and grants. If you would like to give to the Freedom on the Inside program, you can contact the Office for Institutional Advancement at 573-629-3123, or you can email them at giving@hog.edu. Speaking of giving, HOGU held its first ever Giving Day on April 15th through 16th. The goal for the 24-hour period was to raise 240 gifts. The Office of Institutional Advancement asked HOGU employees and alumni to serve as giving advocates. The advocates posted on social media and asked others to consider giving back to HOGU. The Giving Day campaign did reach their goal. At the end of the 24-hour period, 258 gifts were received. The funds totaled over $60,000. Many of those gifts were designated for scholarships and other special projects. Alumni Director Lauren Yaus says she is thrilled with the results.
It was just so touching to see the Trojan community come together and embrace this day of giving and the projects that we had. And we saw current students give, we saw parents, alumni, just people who love HLGU in the community.
Plans are already in works for another Giving Day event to take place next year. It's been a tough year for some local businesses in the Hannibal area. Alex Shipley tells us about a local diner that's had to face some unexpected challenges. Alex?
That's right. The Becky Thatcher's Diner in downtown Hannibal was closed for several weeks earlier this year after a burglar forced entry into the business and caused extensive damage. The owner tells us those repairs cost $50,000. The repairs have been completed and the diner's open again. Locals are excited to order their favorite foods, and the reopening is just in time for the tourism season. This is Frank Dexter. At Becky Thatcher's Diner here in Hannibal, Missouri, he's a regular and comes in
3 or 4 times a week.
You want your usual? Okay. Dexter has been coming to the diner for the past 4 years, but a few months ago, this regular had to find a new place for breakfast.
Wednesday I come up here and it was shut down, and then I found out the reason why.
On February 11th, owner Tim Ashby arrived at the diner and was greeted with a terrible sight.
We arrived at 5 in the morning like we always do, and the place was kind of a shambles.
The suspect was lying on the floor, naked and wrapped in insulation. Brian Griggs was arrested at the scene on account of suspected burglary, leaving the diner to pick up the pieces, over $50,000 worth.
With loss of revenue and loss of inventory and damages to the building, it was in excess of $60,000.
Despite the incident, Ashby says community members were his hope when times were difficult.
You know, if you're looking for a rainbow during the storm, the good part of it was that people did come and support us.
And Dexter says it's locally owned places like this one that he loves supporting.
Here you go, Phil. Enjoy.
It's good. You need to keep the money in your towns to help them out, help the people that work here.
It's a mutual relationship where they support him right back.
I don't cook at home. I'm 74 years old and I've never cooked a meal, so.
Many in the area have stopped at Becky Thatcher's after the incident to show their support. Because for this diner, the community makes it worth it. The diner is open 7 days a week, and they are hiring for summer season. You can stop by and fill out an application, or you can call 573-795-6670 or 573-822-4127.
Thanks, Alex. Churches in the area are still live streaming a year after the start of the pandemic. While local pastors say they are happy to have their doors open again for face-to-face services, they say live streaming won't be going away anytime soon. With more on that story, here's Dylan Dildine.
It's been over a year since the start of the pandemic, when many churches were forced to close their doors.
Zero. No preparation whatsoever.
With states enforcing social distancing, Pastor Jeff Anderson of Calvary Baptist says their Sundays look different.
Sunday school was gone. Small groups, gathering together, that was gone. Within the 3 weeks after it started, we were no attendance in worship services whatsoever.
Churches rushed to adapt to new digital audiences. Pastor Dan Peters of Center Baptist says live streaming is essential.
The live streaming is such an important thing to me because it allows those folks who are unable to be here to have the closest experience that they can of being a part of the church.
Despite the challenges, churches are expanding into the digital world. Worship Pastor Josh Tanner of Calvary Baptist says churches instilled a digital footprint.
One thing about the pandemic, it's been rough, it's been difficult, it's been a challenge, but the gospel has exploded digitally around the world.
As doors across America open back up, people long to return in person.
The return is exploding in this area. I know for us it is. I mean, last Easter, not one person in attendance, it was all online. This Easter, a huge crowd.
Through these trials, God's message reached new heights and churches grew stronger by standing together. Reporting for Newsbeat, I'm Dylan Dildine.
Center Baptist live streams directly to Facebook. Calvary Baptist live streams to their website. And finally, Hannibal-LaGrange University recently welcomed Dr. Rachel Ferguson to campus for a special lecture. Dr. Ferguson is a professor of managerial philosophy at Lindenwood University. During her visit to HOGU, she spoke to students about the Great Enrichment, emphasizing the truth of our current situation through a historical lens.
You know, when you look at a room full of college students and you say, did you guys know that you're like the richest people in the world? That you're in like the top 5% now and you'll be in the top 1% as soon as you make $36,000 a year? I know it's tough sometimes. I know you got to work your job. But sometimes it's nice to remember that, boy, could it be a lot worse.
Lectures like these are made possible by a grant HOGU received from the Mormon Foundation. Exclusive lectures like those led by Dr. Ferguson give students the opportunity to better understand and to participate in conversations about the foundational principles of a free society. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for joining us. Signing off for the last time, I'm Emma Anderson.